Finland's Valtteri Bottas.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
He's joined by a former GP3 champion, Jacques Grandjeau.
So after watching one American race, why not catch another one here? As this was a daily race that we did last week at WeatherTech Laguna Seca, Group 3 cars, but with a little twist. So we decided to not actually put in a qualifying lap, and we also elected to not go with the OP car that was the 911 here around WeatherTech Laguna Seca, and elected to go with something a bit more fancier and picked the McLaren 650S. But we were not alone on this race picking the or at least the least dominant car, as Ethan right ahead of us, of GT World Series driver, also decided to pick the McLaren and kind of just show us off here on how to get through the field with this very, I don't want to say slow car, but not as fast as the 911. But as we come now out of turn 3, or at least I think that is turn 3, I'm not sure if you count that first left kink as turn 1, we weren't really able to make up any positions. We just kept it on the track and just rode around here for the very first lap. But unfortunately for the 12th place driver up ahead of Hewitt Lamilton, the man, the myth, the legend of not Lewis Hamilton but Hewitt Lamilton, unfortunately coming out of the corkscrew, got a little bit wonky, lost the rear end, and Ethan was able to take full advantage of that, capitalize on that, get around him. And unfortunately for us, we just were not close enough to take full advantage of that and just had to settle in right behind him, as we keep an eye on Cyrus right behind us as he was driving the Corvette. But coming into lap number 2 here, back onto the first braking zone of turn 2 and 3, we just hit our marks here, keep it nice and tight coming off the 2 left corners. But as we head into turn 3, or turn 4, Hewitt Lamilton unfortunately gets 2 wheels onto the dirt, loses the rear end, and thank you very much to Hewitt, we were able to gain 1 free position and find our way now up into P12. So that was very, very costly of a mistake from him, but it really opened up a good thing for us, because we now have open racetrack. We don't have to worry about anyone ahead of us except for Ethan. But that gap is gonna start shrinking here soon as Ethan decides to go onto the inside of the Mexican right ahead of us. A little bit of contact is made. Not too sure about that move from Ethan, but the Mexican unfortunately gets a little bit hot-headed, goes into the inside of Ethan, which is, I guess, understandable, pushes him out of the way, and Ethan tries to go for a side swipe off of the final corner, tries to take him out. And as we now head our way into turn 3, back into the first braking zone, Ethan decides to go onto the inside and just push out the Mexican going into turn 3. And unfortunately for Mike, just goes a bit wide due to that push, as Ethan gets a 4-second penalty and he loses 2-3 positions right behind us. So not sure what the whole fiasco was between Ethan and the Mexican, but unfortunately it just ended a bit costly for the Mexican and both Ethan as well, because he has to now serve this 4-second penalty as he tries to go in for another lunge here on the final corner, side by side with OGR Redbeard. He gets him to the inside, makes a little bit of contact, and Redbeard unfortunately could not get onto the power. We tried to avoid him here as we had to go into the inside and just lose a ton of momentum, and due to that, Cyrus was able to take not advantage of 1 but 2 overtakes right there as he got around Ethan after having to serve his penalty. But he's not over yet. He wants to get more positions here as he tries to go into the inside, goes for the old switcheroo on Redbeard, just does not work out here. He's almost losing the back end as well. And it's a little bit scary on our end because we have Cyrus up ahead losing the back end, but we now have a new contender of Cooper right behind us trying to make an overtake on us as well. So it's kind of like a 4-car fiasco here for P8, and we're just gonna have to ride a line here as we're keeping an eye on the radar, looking to see where Cooper's gonna be at, as he was taking a little peek onto the inside, but we braked as late as we can heading into the left corner, and fortunately we were able to clip our apex and just hold off Cooper here as we now make our way down into the corkscrew once again. So into the uphill section, Cyrus goes into the inside, side by side with Redbeard. A little bit of contact is made as Redbeard almost loses that. We try to take full advantage there, so we try to sneak onto the inside onto this double left, but we have to back out as Redbeard just cuts us off there, gets it onto the apex, and we just didn't want to make contact with him and accidentally spin him out, as that would have been easily potential for the stewards to give us a maybe 2, 3, 4 second penalty, as it just seems like anytime you make contact with someone and they go off, you're basically guilty for a 2-4 second penalty. So we wanted to avoid that, and we just let Redbeard do his thing. But still not off of the pressure of Cooper, as he was just basically all over our rear. We had to stay in line right here, as we in my opinion just couldn't really do much with the McLaren. The McLaren was just so slow on power. I feel like the acceleration on the Porsche 911 and as well as the Corvette were just so well, and is actually the Lexus right behind us that Cooper is using. The acceleration was just so good that it was easy to just gain so much time coming off of these corners. And that was just one thing that the McLaren was struggling. But not only that, we elected to pick the hard compound tires, which was the worst of the 2 compounds that were given to us, which were the mediums and the hards. And so it was a little bit difficult to try to make overtakes at this first stint. Basically, the main focus was just to keep it on the racetrack, make sure that we don't lose too much time to the guys up ahead by trying to not fight and just not abuse these hards as as much as we can, but just keep them in an optimal range where we can just continue fighting it all the way up until we have to make up a pit stop. And then once we switch out to mediums, hopefully we can start fighting and making our way through the field on the people that have to switch to the hards. But as we head into turn 2 and 3, you can see that Cooper was starting to get a bit I guess aggressive and a bit impatient, so he goes into the outside, makes a beautiful full overtake, is able to keep it on the right hand side. But heading into turn 4, got the overtake done on us, and Ethan was able to just sneak it right into the inside, get the overtake as well, and we lose 2 positions now as we drop down from 10th place all the way down to 12th. And it's going to be a little bit interesting now as heading into the final sector on lap number 6. Cars are going to start coming to the pits as Ethan almost loses it right off the right-hander. And a couple people up ahead that elected to pick the mediums for the first stint come into the pits and switch off those worn-out mediums to switch off to the hard compound tires. Both of them were mandatory to use in this race. And unfortunately, we just could not really do much there as we now work our way into lap number 8. Me and Ethan both stayed out as we just didn't want to get caught up in the traffic, and we're gonna see if this strategy works out for us as we now switch off from the hard compound tires to the mediums. And coming out of the pits here with the world's fastest pit crew, Ethan is able to stay right ahead of us as we stay right behind him. But looking to our right hand side, we're looking at the Lexus of Cooper, and unfortunately we were unable to get ahead of him, but we were able to get a couple of drivers coming out of the pits, as I think keeping away from the traffic and just making sure that me and Ethan just stayed out, just ran as fast of a in lap as we could, actually paid off, as we are now up into P9. Before going into the pits we were, I believe, P12. So things looking a bit bright for us, and especially because we're now on the fastest compound tires, which were the mediums. We're gonna have to try to run down Cooper and Ethan as best as we can and try to stay with them and potentially get a 7th place position, maybe something better. But then to the corkscrew here, we spot our braking points. We're just trying to get used to the mediums. You can see that we just outshoot the corner, just braked a bit too late. Still a little bit cold, the tires of these mediums, and yeah, just trying to get used to it. But on to lap number 11, we head into the fast left kink as we have a McLaren going wide, and it's Ethan that goes a bit wide into the tire barrier, loses the rear, and draws out yellow flags. But so you right along with him here, you can see he just toes in a bit too quickly into the corner, goes a bit wide off the exit, spins out, and not only that, gets back into the track and causes this multi-car collision as the Porsche looks like he lost it there, heading into the dirt trying to avoid Ethan. And lucky for Ethan, he was able to gain 2 positions, but unfortunately for those 2 cars that spun out heading to the corkscrew, they lost a ton of time and a ton of positions. So yeah, just a very unfortunate situation that happened there. But it's looking good on our part here as we now come into the final corner. We see some yellow flags up ahead once again. And as we come out of this left-hander, we see the Brazilian of Myth Will, unfortunately, having to come back onto the track as we ride along with him. He was fighting for first right here with the 911 as he's using the Alpha, but unfortunately just gets 2 wheels into the dirt, slaps to the left-hand side, hits that inside wall, and unfortunately for him, he loses that 2nd place position after fighting for the win there on the final lap. And fortunate for us, we gained another position as we now find ourselves in P7 after starting P13. But as we come into the final corner, we were making up a lot of time on Mopil up ahead. Just unfortunate we couldn't get it done. And this race basically ends with us finishing in 7th, right behind Mopil, 2 seconds behind him. And it was very, very interesting there as Ethan was right behind us. And then Myth, unfortunately, goes from 2nd place all the way down to 9th in that 4C. So kudos to him for making that car work. But yeah, very difficult challenge in my opinion. I think the McLaren was probably one of the worst cars here for GT3. Just didn't have enough power off the exit. And I feel like around WeatherTech Laguna Seca, you want a car that has really good handling and really good acceleration, just because there really isn't that many spots where you're able to take advantage of top end speed. Maybe the front straight, but even then you have to get a really, really great exit coming off that final corner, especially because it's just a sharp, slow hairpin. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys thought about the video. And if you guys really enjoyed it, hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you want to catch more content. Anyways, my name is Andrew. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you guys did, I hope to catch you guys on the next one. Peace.